Greetings, everybody. My name is Tracy Gray, and I am founder and president of the Sankofa Global Project. And I am here with my fantastic colleague, LaShawn Allen Muhammad.
Good morning, everyone.
So I'm just going to get us started on our presentation of GED plus Ed Tech. So the Sankofa Global Project's mission is to increase the number of women and people of color in science, technology, engineering, art, and math. And we are excited that we have this opportunity to present what we've been working on. And I want to pass this over to my colleague, LaShawn Allen Muhammad.
Yes, good morning. Thank you again, Tracy, and good morning, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. My name is LaShawn Allen Muhammad, as Tracy stated. I am the Executive Director of Central Brooklyn Economic Development Corporation. We are located in the Brownsville section of Brooklyn. We run an adult literacy academy, and we are a partner with the phenomenal Sankofa Global Project. We've been working very closely with Tracy for years. And, it's so exciting because, your typical adult literacy program pretty much just encompasses a space where some young adults, but mostly adults who have, who are starting their or restarting their education, going back to school to obtain their high school equivalency diploma. And those programs typically run the gamut of, some are now virtual, but just classrooms, to prepare people to pass this exam. And so we've been blessed to work with Tracy because it allowed us to sort of expand the breadth of our program and incorporate additional, additional subjects or, more exciting ways to engage adults and get them excited about education. And so yeah, we are so excited to be here again and just wonderful to work with Tracy. And so,
Thank
Tracy?
you. So I actually want to give a brief preview of some of the things that we've done in the past. We started in West Oakland, came to Brooklyn with our Tinker Workshop Labs, got a chance to go to the White House. National Week of Making in 2016, sponsored by Con Edison. Got a chance to go to South by Southland, workshops at Microsoft, visits to Twitter, our tech education conference that was held at Borough Hall, our work with the Tandon School of Engineering, Carnegie Institution's Maker Faire. Yeah, it's Maker Faire 2017 with Dale Doherty. Our IAFA conference, our women-led team, our Build Your Own Wakanda project with Central Brooklyn. Really exciting times for the Sankofa Global Project and our partners. And this is how it's going. Our GED plus Ed Tech program now. That's where we've come to rest. So we're really excited about what we've done and what's happening in the future. I'm really excited. I'm hoping that shortly one of our partners is actually watching live. Her name is Tony Robinson. She's the president of Digital Girl, and I'm wondering if I can actually, folks in Maker, is there a way to ask to invite Tony Robinson to open her mic? Is that possible? Tony Robinson, yes. Is it possible to open her mic if she's on? If not, we'll come back to her later. Digital Girl is also one of our partners, and we're very excited about the fact that they're joining us and supporting because we have similar missions. And so these women in Brooklyn are making things happen for our underrepresented communities, and we're very proud to be working with Digital Girl. Okay, why is this? Here we go. So I would like for you to type in the chat, what is Ed Tech? What do you consider Ed Tech? Let's see what folks have to say. Okay, can we see what's happening in the chat? As you all are deciding what your definition of Ed Tech is, this is what we've looked at. Ed tech is the, because we're looking at GED and education technology. Oh, we have one response here about what ed tech is. Any tool to assist learning. Yep, absolutely. So it's a tool for creating inclusive environments. And I love this definition from higher ed. I apologize, I didn't credit them, that ed tech is another way of saying change. And that we have an opportunity to bring about change for our people. So for all people, actually. So I would love for us to talk a little bit, LaShawn.
Mm-hmm.
My screen just went blank. That's not good.
Here we are.
I would love for us to talk about some of the barriers.
Yes, so it's interesting, right? As I mentioned a little while ago, most of our students are returning, right? For various reasons, individuals do not finish their high school experience, right? And do not graduate from high school, and have made a decision to return. But at this point in time, many have families, many are single moms. Many are have housing insecurities. They may be living in a shelter. They may be homeless. So there are a variety of reasons. And then also one of the main reasons why people become disconnected in the first place is because, first of all, the ed tech platform does not exist, as a whole in school in the first place, in many schools. But more importantly, just the way that teachers or educators interact with their students, because everyone learns differently, right?
Yes.
They have different learning styles. And so those are some of the barriers that people have experienced, which is what made them become disconnected in the first place. And then returning, if the environment is not conducive to their learning and can help them connect to the information, that is a major barrier.
Yes.
So those are just some of the things, also I would say employment or underemployment. Many of our students, they may be working jobs or 2 part-time jobs just to make ends meet. And so that is a huge barrier because it disrupts their ability to really focus in class. And so those are just a few, but those are one of the main reasons why barriers exist. Yeah.
Yay, Tony's here. Excellent. Tony, hi. Thank you for being here. I'm so excited that you're able to join us and you could talk to us about what Digital Girl is doing and how we're going to partner together for this GED plus Ed Tech program.
Absolutely. Good morning, all, and thank you for having me. Digital Girl Inc. was started because we found the need in our community to want to empower our young girls initially to want to study STEM or go into careers in STEM. As I'm a STEM professional and my partner's a STEM professional, we grew in our careers and we stopped seeing people that look like us. And we just kept talking over the years saying, somebody needs to do something. Why aren't there young Black women wanting to enter STEM? And then finally, after a couple of years of chatting, we said, I think we're the ones that have to do something. And we started Digital Girl Inc. And, we want to expose them, give them self-confidence, and tell them that this is not that hard. And it's very rewarding if you, pursue this. And that's how Digital Girl was born. And we've been out in the community working with schools, working with different community-based organizations. We're partnering with Sankofa, which is a wonderful thing. We work with colleges all over the place. So.
Yeah. Can you talk about some of the programs that you've done during COVID, during the lockdown?
Yes. I mean, we had to go virtual, which was wonderful because it was right up our lane to go virtual. And we started doing website design classes. Everything was free, offered to our community. Website design classes, application designs, and game design classes. And we taught kids from pre-K all the way up. Didn't matter. We did a SYEP bridge program to get them started.
What's SYEP? What's SYEP?
Oh, sorry. Summer Youth Employment Program. They did a bridge program. Instead of sending the participants out to work for the summer as they normally would do. They had them complete a challenge. And
Okay.
we were one of the partners that worked on a challenge for them to complete. And the challenge that we gave them was to build something that can better your community. They broke into 5 groups, and it's amazing what they came up with, because we don't think like our young people. So,
No, we don't.
and we think we may know what their issues are, what's their biggest concern, but it's surprising to see what they come up with. And
Yes.
so it was very rewarding and very exciting, and they learned a lot. We were very surprised, as well as the sponsors, with the projects that they came up with.
Oh, what are some of the projects they came up with? Because this ties right into the next part that we're going to talk about.
Absolutely. One of the projects they came up with was a healthy eating project, and the website was amazing that they came up with to support, and it's to support their age group. So what they want to see when they go out to look for healthy options. They also came up with a program, and I want to see if I could get it right, where it was sort of a stimulus program for their age group. Yes, I was like, wow. It's called Initiative Benefit something. I can't remember what it was. But exactly, it came up with a stimulus program for their age group and what they wanted to see in a package that could help promote them.
Yes.
And some other things, but it was just truly amazing.
Yeah. When I think about educational innovation, we are at a unique time where there are changes that are happening and the opportunities for change to happen. When I did the quick reel earlier about the Sankofa Global Project's progression over time. I started in the Bay Area, talking with students, interviewing them, trying to figure out what is the best way, because the collegiate students at Stanford in the engineering department, especially for the African-American students and the African students, said to me, on the collegiate level, because that's where I started looking at the collegiate level and helping folks get into technology and STEAM opportunities that way. But the students said to me, would you please go back to the elementary schools, the middle schools, and the high schools to help students prepare for what's ahead of them? Because they're like, here we are at Stanford, and we weren't equipped for for so many areas that we don't have enough time to talk about here. But one of them being mentoring opportunities, or opportunities for coaching or internships. Folks didn't have those opportunities. They said, but if you go back in the elementary, middle schools, and high schools and work with those students, you can help prepare them. And then we did our Tinker Workshop Labs. We started with citizen science, Tinker Workshop Labs. And even when we were going out into the community, invite folks to come to Maker Faire, we got some resistance, and I couldn't figure it out why. And I did some more research, and then found out that people didn't necessarily, and I've spoken to Dan about this, and we've talked about this in Maker Movement, how to make the Maker Movement more inclusive, and how to make folks from traditionally underrepresented communities be a part of the conversation and be a part of making. And that here even is Y. Yang wrote this great article, and I really want to encourage folks to read it, about the level of entrepreneurship and makerism that should happen and how it can happen within our communities. And so we ourselves put together, along with Central Brooklyn Economic Development Corporation, Collab Fabrication Lab and Innovation Studios, Dr. Leslie Craigo, Renee Smith, a group of us women got together and created It's a Family Affair based on our feedback from the community. And these are some of the students who did some of the work there. And I want LaShawn to talk about some of the partners that we brought into that program.
Yes, so the IAFA event was an amazing experience for our students. We brought our entire adult literacy class with us, along with our education partners. We worked very closely with Medgar Evers College School of Business and Long Island University School of Business. And and just on the subject of entrepreneurship, one of the ideas and concepts that we are developing is, if we can help students obtain their GED or high school equivalency diploma, and not just think about going into college or getting or now qualifying for a job, but really becoming a solid business owner, right? So that's why it was really important to partner with business schools. And we came up with the concept of a 5-year GED to MBA program. And that was something that was discussed in a panel at the IAFA conference. And this is something very real. And students need to hear that. Students need to see the partners together talking about and, devising these wonderful plans for them. And so, yeah, it was an amazing experience.
Yes, definitely. Thank you. Thank you for that. And so when we talk about entrepreneurship, nationally, these are the statistics that we came up with, that I researched from Startup Statistics from Matt Mansfield. He just wrote this in June 2020. When we look at the statistics of entrepreneurship, it's encouraging, but there's a lot of room for improvement. So, and LaShawn's going to talk about the contrast, but nationally, we're looking at 73% folks identify as male and only 25% identifying as female. Although the fastest growing entrepreneurs right now are Black women, African-American and Black women. For those who have high school or GED, 33% of folks are choosing to start their own business. Look at the age range. From 50 to 59 is the greatest number. People in their second careers, figuring out, or being people who are retiring and figuring out, I want to do something different. And then by ethnicity, the numbers, 71% of Caucasian people are choosing entrepreneurship. And then we have 5% of Indigenous and other people choosing entrepreneurship. And so our goal is to bring this opportunity for folks who are completing their GED or who are in the process of working on their GED to help them make the leap, and not just a leap, an uninformed leap, but a leap with support towards entrepreneurship. LaShawn?
Yes. And so, it was interesting looking at the statistics. And so in my class, we have, I would say 75% of our students are women, right? But they are of the age, I would say our students are between the ages of 17 and 60. And so we do have a number of students who are, over 40 and are going back to complete their education and then move forward. And so it was really interesting to see what happens, but then it's not that odd, right? When you think about what's just happening in our communities in general, these numbers make sense. And so one of the things that really struck me, just looking at the ethnicity, we have to become more, and we do include this, the civic engagement component in our classes, because we have to understand what's going on in the country. We have to understand what the laws and policies are doing, right, to sort of help folks move forward or actually oppress them, right? And so with the recent tax law, that law really supports entrepreneurs and small business.
Tell us about this tax law.
So I want to say it was within the last 2 to 3 years, the Trump administration changed the tax law where it actually decreased the write-offs for people who own property.
Yes,
however, you had a higher write-off if you owned a business. So it was really, really, really targeted for small businesses. And I guess the point was to open the economy, right? And we know that small business is the engine, is a big part of the engine of the economic engine in this country. And so, but we need to be aware of that.
Right.
We need to understand what that looks like and get involved. And so that's why I'm really not surprised to see the statistics the way that it's displayed on the screen. But that's why we have to make sure that we are including this information in our programs. We have to make sure that the communities are aware and where the opportunities exist, so that they can take advantage of them as well.
Exactly. Awesome. Tony, did you have anything you want to add there?
Sure, I had to take myself off mute. Yeah, I think it's very important, and to at least teach our young people about entrepreneurship. A lot of them just haven't seen it. And so they're like, if I don't see it, I don't really know anything about it. And so we've had interns with us. Two of them have decided to author their own books. Another one has decided to build an app as an entrepreneur, started his company and everything. And so it's really exciting. And they're saying to us, like, if we didn't see this, if we weren't part of Digital Girl and saw that, these two people just pulled together and started their own company, we would not have thought we could do it. And that's a lot of it, being able to expose them to this and being able to just show them that you can do this and empower them with the skills.
Yes. I think about my own journey, right? Going from being a classroom teacher for many years to being an education leader, running a school in California, to saying, I want to be a part of education, but I want to be a part of the change for education because there are real opportunities. I'm a progressive educator. I was trained at Bank Street College of Education. I have 2 master's degrees in early childhood and in general ed. And I had the privilege of working in some of the premier institution schools in this country. And I'm currently a professor of education in Manhattan. One of the things that was terrifying for me is what I didn't know. I stumbled a lot. And I'm a grown-up. I'm a big grown-up, and I stumbled a lot. But I can't tell you how priceless my education and my role as a teacher has been in even developing a business model. That there are so many opportunities in education on a community level that are not being tapped into. And one of the reasons why we're talking about the GED plus Ed Tech program, as LaShawn and I have talked about, 100% of adult education programs are funded by the government. And we've got to diversify the streams because that means I was trying to find the actual article, but I'll share it later. There was in 2017 in New York City, $52 million was allocated for GED programs. And at the time, I think there were 26,500, something around there, 28,000 students who were enrolled in GED programs in 2017. Only 150 certificates were awarded that year. Wow. And so that raises a lot of questions, and it raised a lot. It was a whole article written about it, and there was a whole investigation about, so what's happening between the funding and students actually receiving services. And so when we're talking about diversifying streams of support for education, we're looking at all types of ways. I'm very excited that Siddharth Ramakrishna, the Director of Research for the CUNY Foundation, is one of our GED plus Ed Tech advisors and is supporting us and helping us apply for grants and seek funding to make sure that folks have access to this. And I can't stress this enough, how on a community level, that we have not just a responsibility or a duty, but the privilege of being able to contribute to our communities. Because if in fact, and LaShawn, I would love you to talk more about the statistics around those folks who are not receiving, who are not completing high school, who will start and stop GED programs. If there's not adequate funding to support students as they exit out of these programs, what happens then?
So, I mean, I mentioned this a little earlier. The statistics are pretty much, I'll just talk about Brownsville, right?
Okay, perfect.
I'll talk about Brownsville. So Brownsville, where I was born and raised and where our program is located, we have the highest concentration of public housing in the entire country. And there is a high level of single family homes. And so you have mothers, who are now not just having the challenge of raising children on their own, but now in a remote environment, right? And then the neighborhood doesn't necessarily have, access to Wi-Fi, access to, talking about technology, actual laptops and equipment.
Yes.
There are a lot of just insecurity across the board, food insecurity, housing insecurity, just a lot of those types of life challenges.
Yes.
That hamper, progression. And so that's why these programs are really important. So just speaking about the contracts, they typically pay for the space that we're in. It pays for the educators, the teachers, instructors that come in. It may be some books, but it does not pay for, and I would be remiss to say, the program that we're funded by, the New York City Department of Youth and Community Development, have been a phenomenal resource. They have given us laptops for our classrooms. However, but because there's so many, right, programs across the city, there's but so much, right? It would be great if we had a second stream of income or a second stream of funding to provide more laptops or up-to-date laptops, so that they can take home. We have to keep them in the office because we don't own them, right? We should be able to provide our students with a laptop to take home, with a tablet to take home, right? Yes. Those little things, but it costs money. It takes resources. Yes. And so, when I work very closely with colleges, those are some of the incentives that colleges provide their students. When they sign up for school, they're given a laptop. It's a very different dynamic. And so we have to get there. We have, there's a gap, and we have to raise the money to make sure we close, the equity gap.
Yes. Tony, any thoughts?
I agree completely with everything LaShawn just said. We also are recipients of money from DYCD. So that does help quite a bit. And the model of our programming is to provide it free of charge to these, to our demographic, because that's, they don't have it. And that's why they don't have the education that they need right now. A lot of it is financial. There's a whole lot of other systemic issues there, but we won't go into that right now.
Right.
And so, with them being disconnected, that target there, like 16 to 24, not in school, not working, and so forth, we want to try to grab them. And you can't really charge them to do things. You can't charge them, come here and pay for a laptop. So you really want to give them everything for free because you really want to see if you could improve their status.
Right. And I'm parking here for a reason that, one of the challenges that we came across, even with our Build Your Own Wakanda program, is making sure that we had the resources and the materials so that the students could even iterate their design.
Right.
So, and shout out to Mark and Adina Levine from CoLab Fabrication Lab and Innovation Studios, who donated the supplies for the Build Your Own Wakanda and donated their space in Bushwick so that we could host our hackathon. Right. And so, and I want to be clear that the communities that we are focused on right now in Brooklyn, and we want to expand further, but focused on in Brooklyn right now, are Brownsville, Bed-Stuy, Crown Heights, East New York, East Flatbush, and all areas that have historically underrepresented communities. And Canarsie, thank you, and Canarsie, yes. That's where we're focused on, and we're putting it out to the maker world that we want your support and making sure that we continue to have makers in our communities, because if we have a bunch of folks with ideas, but who are not able to bring them into fruition, what are we doing?
Tracy, may I add just one line?
Yes, of course.
Investment in people.
Yes.
This is what we need. It's not just investment in a program or support a program. We need an investment in people. We have buildings and infrastructures being developed around our cities and countries. We also need, so we will invest in infrastructures. However, we need to invest equal or more into people.
Yes, yes.
And then I do want to add one other thing as well.
Yes.
And we have to change some of the structure and how this investment is done, particularly with the city and state and some of the other funding that we've received. It's all reimbursement funding.
And really?
Yes, it's all reimbursement. So you have to spend the money to get the money. And so, that's I always have a problem when mentally thinking about that.
Yes.
I'm a logic person. So I'm like, okay, well, if we're asking you for the money, that means we don't have it. So, that's something that we have to think about as well moving forward, the structure of how these funding programs work.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Tony. And I know we're limited with time, but it's really important to really, because there are a lot of people listening who are really are not clear what we're talking about. So that's why it's important not to speak in acronyms. So what Tony is speaking about is absolutely 1000% correct. That is discretionary funding that is available through our city council and our borough president so that's a form of funding, but there are contracts that are available that are not, it's not based on reimbursements. They are direct contracts. So there are two forms of government funding that an organization or nonprofit organization can obtain through the city of New York. And so I just wanted to be specific to say that the funding that Tony is referencing is the discretionary funding that's available through our city council.
There's a question from Michelle Hardy. What about the ballot initiative to get funding? Anybody know about that?
I've never heard of the ballot initiative.
Michelle, we're going to have to get some information from you to find out what that's about, okay? Thank you. So I want to talk about our project that we're working on. So when in 2017, when I decided that I wanted to really, with all the research that we gathered starting from 2013 and all the projects and figuring out what students are needing and making sure that folks can be a part of even the makerspace, just being a part, we have to come up with some systems and put them in place. And one of them is this course. So our GED Ed Tech program is an application cohort. So in a perfect world, we would have students come up with their ideas and work with someone to complete an application so that they can articulate what their idea could be. It's a 13-week cohort. It's an individual study program. What I love about this and the design for this is that we are putting in place instructors, mentors, and coaches so that students will have success. We're talking about having coaching sessions, and the outcome is that students will have their ed tech idea. And when we go back to our definition of ed tech, it's about tools that give people the opportunity for learning and for designing, or it's a tool for change. And so that the outcome that the student would leave the 13-week program with the framework for a business plan for their ed tech idea. And ideally, when we're thinking about, thinking about LaShawn, when we were at, when I brought my students to one of your classes, and one of the persons in the class said, wait, you mean that I could actually do something after I get my GED? That there are other opportunities. And that really stuck with me, that there's a whole swath of population that they either get their GED, they either go into service, or they go service work, or they'll go into community college, but many starts and stops. And this is, and I teach at a community college. And so that's one of the things that my students have told me is that, like LaShawn said, life gets in the way. What if we were able to have a program that hosted for 13 weeks, and we would have, I like the number 13, I just do, 13 weeks, 13 people in each cohort. And the students, the outcome is that they've taken their ed tech idea, ideally something that they would love to see happening in an education setting, and they turn it into a business. They turn their maker idea. I literally had a conversation with my nephew who's 42, who looks like he's 18. He's an artist. He's an amazing artist, gifted, completely incredible artist. He does music, he does drawing, he does candles, all types of things, but he's got all these great making ideas. But how can he turn it into a business? How can he turn it into something that's going to help him sustain? And I would love for, folks in the maker movement to talk about how folks are creating a business model. And if you want to join us in this venture, we'd love your support in helping our young people achieve their best result. Because honestly, if we don't, I tell people this all the time, one day we're going to be old. One day we're going to be old. And the people who we've left behind us are going to be the ones who take care of us. And so what are we doing to make sure that they have what they need? So where are we right now? So we are preparing for our launch, our official launch. Actually, today is kind of like our official launch, in that we're presenting it to the world. We've worked on our research and content, our virtual platform. We've got an amazing advisory team. Now we have great partners, and we're always looking for more. Now we're looking for funding. I'm very honored and very excited that Con Edison, we've applied for a grant with Con Edison, a small research grant, small funding to get started. We're waiting to receive a notification if we receive that back. As I mentioned, Professor Ramakrishna is helping us figure out different avenues to raise money. He recommended the Spencer Foundation as a 5-year plan. And if other folks have other ideas about how we can bring funding and bring people to the table to have this conversation, we would greatly appreciate it. LaShawn?
Yes, I just wanted to add, another support that we received for this initiative, or that will be part of this initiative, is from the New York Women's Foundation. Central Brooklyn Economic Development Corporation is a part of the Early Investment Initiative, and we will be supporting 50 community women to start their business. Yeah. And so some of the 50 are going to be, are part of our GED program. And so just, reflecting back on your statistics, we're inching up. We're going to make an impact, on that 25%. So
yes.
I just wanted to be to acknowledge our partner, the New York Women's Foundation.
Thank you for that. Oh, well, got to find out more information. Oh, we've got Roberta Sullivan would love to connect with us to talk about the possible collaboration with the SUNY EM Tech program. Thank you, Roberta. We will definitely contact you. I'm hoping that this is being recorded, so we'll be able to connect with you. Roberta, if you could, I'm going to actually type in my email address to everybody. And if you could please email me this contact, because as much as I love to multitask, I can't multitask right now. Tony, do you want to talk a little bit more about funding? You're muted.
And I'm chatting. I think that you both have covered the funding issue very well. It's needed, and we're happy to receive it, and I just actually want to touch back on one other thing.
Of course.
I did mention that we had the youth create challenge projects this summer, and one of the challenge projects is directly related to this. I just looked at and saw. They called their group the Influencers, and they wanted to help the youth with building businesses, marketing, advertising, everything. They felt that they saw a need there where, okay, you can start a business, but you don't have all the vital pieces to make it successful. And so they came up with their group called the Influencers, and the things that they could provide to the young entrepreneurs. So they're thinking about it. Yes.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. So what made them do you know what inspired them to do this?
You know what, we really kind of let them lead and create and develop their own ideas. So we would have never told them, you know what, maybe you should think about how you can help youth develop a business. But this is what they came up with. So they had to come up with ideas of what they see as a need in their community or an issue in their community. And this is what they came up with.
Right. LaShawn,
the website that they came up with too.
Pardon? Huh?
I will send you their website.
Okay. Oh, beautiful. Thank you. LaShawn, in our last few minutes, can you talk about the Lemonade project as far as entrepreneurship before we close it out?
Yes. So we are also partners with the Brooklyn Lemonade Day initiative in partnership with the Be That Kid Foundation. And so for the past 3 years, actually, we have a youth entrepreneurship program called Sonic Biz. It's also supported by and funded by the New York City Department of Youth and Community Development. And so every summer, our students have an opportunity to create their product, which is the lemonade, and participate in an outdoor event and sell their lemonade. And so we also, so every year there's additional partners that join, that come on board, and they had the opportunity to receive gift cards from, I believe it was Staples, where they were able to buy school supplies. And so we're really excited. The Lemonade Day initiative, it's an online platform. It comes with a full entrepreneurship curriculum. It's amazing. I also would like to mention that we also partner with Startup Africa. That program is based in Kenya. And actually, they brought a group of their students to New York, to Brooklyn, to visit with our students. And so what that curriculum does is prepares the young people for pitch competitions. And so, we have some amazing partners, and we're just so thankful. The last thing I wanted to mention before we go is related to the support. Sweat equity sometimes can be as equally important as actual funding. And I want to mention that we are working with a young lady from Brownsville, Kiana Hallams, who is a fashion designer turned PPE manufacturer during COVID. And so she actually she's going to be teaching an entrepreneurship class for our GED class. And so she's going to talk about her experience as a new entrepreneur, as well as talk about how they can sort of recreate and repurpose things in their own home.
Love it.
So I just wanted to mention that as well. If there are any makers out there that want to work with us and become one of our, a mentor, a teacher, instructor, please let us know.
Absolutely. And the party is not over. We're just getting started. We're going to be continuing our conversations and strategy sessions and invite folks to participate with us, because even though this is something, I've been working on for years, I saw something, I think it was Seth Rogen, talked about he's been working on a script and he's on the 13th iteration. And so when we think about building and creating and designing, the more that we change it to meet the needs, especially as we expand it and involve more voices. But I also want to mention the fact that we have, just to give a scope of where we are, there are 1.1 million students in New York City, schools. Those are folks who are in schools. The last statistic that I read recently, there are approximately between 26 and 28,000 students who are choosing or opting to get their GED. What could we do with 26,000 students taking their maker idea and turning it into a profitable entrepreneurship business? How different would that make communities? That would bring so much creativity and innovation to education first and foremost, but also for the folks who are looking to build a business. LaShawn and Tony, I thank you. Have any last thoughts before we leave?
Thank you, Tracy. I just want to say thank you, and also Maker Faire for this amazing platform. Looking forward to working with you. It's really exciting times.
Yes. Tony?
Thank you again as well for having me. And I do want to say one last thing. Although technology, entrepreneurship are the hook that bring the participants to us, it's the non-tech benefits that are sometimes even greater. The fact that they learn teamwork, working with adults that really care about them, that building their self-confidence and their self-esteem, being able to partner them with people who are professionals. So those are the things that they're learning, not just the entrepreneurship or the technology skills.
Yes, wholeheartedly agree. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Maker Faire, for having us. And we look forward to continue doing more. Thank you. Take care. Bye, everybody.
Bye.